Oh, I know, no beer at the moment. My tap is still woefully inoperable. I'm working on it. It just needs a couple more parts and then we'll be up to running. Anyway, it's about, noon o'clock here in the old Hoffman studios, and I kind of figured it was high time for me to give you some unsolicited opinions about the beer industry. My name is Andrew Hoffman, and this is the Bar Exam. If you were to ask me to define the craft beer industry right now in one word, it would absolutely be consolidated. And I don't just mean of the corporate takeover variety. I mean, that is certainly happening, but that's, well, it's egregious, but it's not the most egregious in my opinion. See, this is something else entirely. It goes pretty deep down into the spiritual roots of our great hobby, and it's something that everybody kinda knows in their gut to be true. But nobody really wants to admit it because once you voice this opinion, you get labeled as some microbrewery fan who's stuck in the 90s. Well, that's gonna be me. I'm gonna put myself up on that cross for you, all you craft beer fans, you bar owners, you brewers alike. See, the thing is, it's not just, the corporate takeover stuff that's happening. It's also the flavors that are consolidating, and IPAs are to blame. And sure, I can hear the pitchforks rattling off in the distance, I can hear the torches being lit, but you gotta ask yourself this. The last time you went out to your favorite brewery tap room, what was actually on tap? Well, there was probably something lighter, lager-like, pale gold, lower ABV, kind of sessionable. There was probably something darker, like a porter or a stout, maybe both, who knows. And then there was probably something kettle acidified, like a goza or some variation on a saison. I would drink the crap out of that. That sounds pretty great. But in addition to that list, there's going to be, well, 1 or 2 pale ales, 3 or 4 IPAs, and at least 1 or 2 doubles. Now don't get me wrong, I love me some IPA. In fact, the idea of every brewpub in America toiling at and striving to make the next heady topper killer, well, that sounds amazing because, even if local darling brewpub X doesn't make the next national trend, you get access to fresh, high-quality IPA on tap pretty much everywhere at every time. So what's the problem, Andrew? It's not like it's a very controversial statement to make that IPA is the defining flavor of craft beer at the moment. Well, what kind of YouTube pundit would I be if I didn't try and stir up a little bit of controversy here, huh? Oh, goodbye my subscriber count. Craft beer, from its infancy in the 1980s till basically now, has been defined by its distance from macro production. And the easiest way for a brewery to do this back then was to have a huge amount of variety on tap.
What beer are you drinking?
Oh, this is the Lighthouse Lager from Santa Cruz Brewing Company.
The Grapevine Extra Special Bitter.
Triple Rock wheat beer.
The Red Tail Ale Beer from Mendocino County.
Right now it's into glass.
Partially because, well, craft beer didn't have a defining flavor, and also because a brewer could say, look at all these amazing flavors. You can have anything you want. The world is your oyster. Stout. The world is... God damn it, that was really stupid. It just kind of shook out that way that imperial stouts and IPAs became the 2 most dominant flavors of the craft beer universe. And let's be honest, if you're looking for a pale-colored, hoppy beer, isn't Best Bitter just like a worse IPA? I want to believe that the foundation of craft beer is still built upon that bedrock of flavor diversity. But the market is beginning to tell a different story. See, there's this depressingly accurate idea in marketing where if you own a convenience store, you're going to sell far more sports drink by overstocking the 2 most popular flavors and disregarding the fruit punches, the icy blasts, the tropical storms, the, what have yous. If that idea of marketing being applied to craft beer enrages you, that's good, because it enrages me too. But you should probably pause the video now and get that cathartic rage out by yelling into a pillow, because, well, it really is happening, and I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more in this video. As much as I really do hate that sports drink analogy, we can all kinda see it at work in the beer industry right now. Larger regional powerhouse breweries are removing more storied, out there styles from their portfolio, and smaller, little darling brewpubs just aren't making them because, well, there's no demand for them. I say this with much love for the Doppelbock style, but those weirder styles just aren't really profitable. Now, of course, a legion of angry Pennsylvanians are gonna start chucking their empty Troganator cans at me for saying that. The majority of people drinking craft beer nowadays are looking for IPAs, and that's not conjecture, that's fact. They're looking for Citra and Mosaic bombs with relatively low IBUs compared to the total percentage of oils. They're looking for them to be around 6 to 7.5% ABV. They want them pale gold, and they want them fresh, which often means they want them unfiltered to a certain extent. And if they can't have them at your brew pub, well, they're gonna walk down the street to the one that just opened up that has plenty of them. Let's say that you want to make the next crazy IPA trend that's going to blow the entire industry away, right? Heady Topper 2.0. First off, you have to have a great recipe. Secondly, you have to be able to brew it. You have to have a talented brew staff. Or, if you're the brewer, you better be damn good. And, I say this with much love for my home brewing companions. But, brewing a killer IPA on a 5-gallon system is not the same as brewing that same beer on a 15-barrel system. Just isn't. You also have to have a connection for quality ingredients, especially the hops. That 2016 crop of Citra that you bought for way too much money on the spot market is not going to cut it if you're trying to brew the next sip of sunshine. Now, for the brewer who's under a lot of pressure to fill the relevancy quota on their tap list, and with new breweries opening up every month that have to have like 3 or 4 IPAs on tap to stay relevant, well, you see where I'm going with this. It doesn't matter if your Baltic Porter is the best thing ever put to tap. The completely market-driven need to have a lot of delicious IPA on tap all the time can make or break a startup brewery. And it's changing the industry as a whole, and I don't think it's a good thing. Okay, I'm known for being very hyperbolic. I can exaggerate a little bit. I don't, for the record, think we're heading towards some generic IPA-induced Ragnarok here. It's just, we used to see tap lists a mile long from breweries, with every style imaginable represented well by American brewers. But when was the last time you saw English Mild on tap? What about Abbey-style doubles? What about Weizenbach?
Hey!
What about...
Hey!
Why you gotta do me like that, bruh? Stop talking about my hobby in such lowest common denominator terminology. Man, I like IPAs just because I like them, dog. Don't try to no true craft beer fan me just because you have some, raging boner for Pilsners. Ugh.
Okay, I'm not trying to be all no true craft beer fan over here, strawman Dave. Just, for a hobby that's purportedly about getting away from bland tasting beer, I just find it kind of frustrating that I can't find what I think are more interesting examples of craft beer on tap anymore. And I know plenty of brewers who agree with me. They'd rather be brewing anything else. Alright, fine. Now this is all conjecture at this point. Hashtag old man yells at cloudy IPAs, hashtag get off my lawn. This is all just, my opinion, obviously. If you want to go skipping off into the IPA-induced Ragnarok, hey, you know what? Go right ahead, more power to you. In fact, I'll probably wind up joining you, because, hey, we all gotta learn to stop worrying and love the hop bomb eventually, right? Anyway, if you want to, debate me here and say that my opinions are really old, hop onto the comments below and let me have it. Otherwise, hey, if you agree with me, leave that comment too, and maybe if you're at it, give me that sweet, sweet subscribe button action. Anyway, my name's Andrew Hoffman, and this has been The Bar Exam. Cheers. Good coffee. Different kind of brewed beverage.